These are this afternoon's top stories. Possible controversy in SKN AAA with nationals just days away. Former electricity boss says GPL did not reduce electricity tariffs. And U.S. Marine Corps opened frontline training to women. Good afternoon and welcome to ZIZ's Midday Newscast for Monday, 8th June 2015. I am J.D. Keynes. In national developments, with the 2015 National Championships just days away, it has been rumored that President Glenn Jeffers has resigned from his post. This morning, ZIZ News spoke with Public Relations Officer Everest Huggins, who said he could not confirm or deny the rumor, but added that he will be happy to provide an update on the association's plans for this weekend's event. The 2015 National Championships is slated for June 13th and 14th at the Kim Collins Stadium in Birdwalk. It is expected to be one of the biggest meets in recent years, as Olympic gold medalist Kim Collins has promised to return to the track and compete in the event after a brief sabbatical. On Sunday, a team of 24 players and 4 support staff returned to St. Kitts from Mexico after participating in a training camp in preparation for this week's football match against El Salvador. Our cameras were at the Robert L. Bracher International Airport on Sunday night to capture the arrival of the athletes, some of whom were also greeted by family members and friends. We spoke with Jacques Parsi, who is serving as coach of the local team. He said the recent training in Mexico improved the players' abilities to work as a team.
We just trained in a magnificent way. We were 7 days together in a top level place with top training sessions. In football, there's always realities. The reality is that El Salvador, in the history, and if you compare it to what St. Kitts has done, is a superior team. But today, you can't focus on what was past. You focus on what it is today. And today we came to training on a tremendous level. We did fantastic exercises. We did a lot of tactical sessions. So the reality is, I think it's going to be a very tight game.
The national team presents a great mix of resident and non-resident players. Coach Passy said the mixture will benefit the overall team.
Something for us in this camp that we did, there are no local players or players that come from the UK. There are only players because we all represent St. Kitts and Nevis. So this is the team spirit, and via this team spirit, we are trying to approach these games in the most professional way, and playing against an outstanding opponent, this is the way we are approaching them.
Okay, good. On Thursday, the St. Kitts and Nevis football team will play against El Salvador at Warner Park. The country's Deputy Prime Minister, the Honorable Sean Richards, has been re-elected to serve as leader of the People's Action Movement, PAM. Richards' re-election came yesterday, Sunday, when the well-known party hosted its 50th annual caucus at the OJ's Convention Center. Other members of PAM's executive are Parliamentary Representative for Constituency 8, the Honorable Eugene Hamilton, and John L. Powell, who is a special envoy in the government. Both men will serve as deputy leaders. Meantime, Valentine Lindsay was re-elected as party chairman, with Vanessa Phipps as his deputy. Willis Percival, who previously served as Assistant General Secretary, was elected treasurer, while Attorney Natasha Gray was elected Assistant General Secretary, and Greg Herbert was elected as the party's public relations officer. ZIZ News understands that more than 200 members, including 126 official PAM delegates, formed part of the caucus. The executive officers' positions will be ratified at the party's 50th annual convention in 1 week on June 14th at party headquarters. The maritime phase of Exercise Tradewinds 2015 will culminate tomorrow, June 9th, with a ceremony at the Kim Collins Athletic Stadium. The country's acting Governor General S.W. Tapley Seaton QC and government officials, including Prime Minister the Honorable Dr. Timothy Harris, are expected to attend. Public Affairs Officer attached to the St. Kitts Nevis Defense Force, Captain Coyote Sutton, has confirmed that the ceremony will feature welcome remarks by co-director of the exercise, Major J. Anthony Comrie, Honorable Larry Palmer, the U.S. Ambassador to Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean, Prime Minister Harris, and others. Meantime, earlier today, the local organizers facilitated a beach cleanup exercise on Keys Beach. That exercise, which was led by U.S. Southcom, the course's sponsor, was expected to demonstrate linkages and show appreciation to the communities and St. Kitts and Nevis, by extension, for the contribution to Exercise Tradewinds 2015. Regionally, the former head of what is now the Guyana Power-led GPL company has said that the promised reduction in electricity tariffs is not actually carried through by the company's management.
The recently announced tariff reduction by the Guyana Power and Light Company now appears to have been a political gimmick, according to Raymond Gaskin, former head of the Guyana Electricity Corporation, now GPL.
The 10% reduction is a gimmick, it was a pre-election gimmick. I don't think that's sustainable because GPL itself is coming to the Treasury for subsidies. GPL itself needs serious restructuring of the management.
He said the board and management has proven to be incompetent and unproductive.
They still have a lot of system losses in the place, and GPL is due for a serious review. The management and the board, and I think Brassenden there is the chairman. All of them got to be reviewed, and they got to be removed from there.
Weeks before the May 11 polls, the Donald Ramotard-led administration announced a 10% reduction in electricity rates effective from March of this year. Some customers said they are still to see the tariff reduction passed down to the customers. Reporting for our Capital News, Royce Andre.
The government in Jamaica has promised to present the police with a new wage offer this week. This follows industrial action by rank-and-file officers who staged a sit-out last week to protest against the offer of a 5% increase. Minister with responsibility for the public service, Horace Daly, said during a marathon meeting with officials from the Police Federation on Friday, a new offer will be placed on the table by Wednesday. Daly, who is leading the new wage negotiations, said the federation that represents the rank-and-file members of the police force has submitted counter-proposals on some items in the 54-point claim. The police officers remained away from work for 3 days last week, although the government obtained an injunction ordering them to resume duties. On Friday, members of the Police Federation and the Jamaica Constabulary Force returned to the bargaining table, with the Ministry of Finance and the Federation rejected the government's 5% wage offer over 2 years. Internationally, the United States Marine Corps is putting women to the test to determine their readiness for frontline combat. Here's more.
It's a long way to the top, but scaling a rock cliff is all in a day's work for 22-year-old Corporal Jacqueline Dean.
Top down, take my weight!
She's part of the Marine Ground Combat Unit Integrated Task Force, an experiment in gender integration. 600 Marines, male and female, trained side by side for combat roles never before open to women.
Absolutely exciting, thrilling, I love to do things like this. So.
Still, she admits it hasn't been easy.
The hardest part, honestly, had to be when we first arrived, showing up to a unit full of males that have never really seen a female Marine, let alone worked with one. And that in itself was a struggle.
And then there's the heavy gear carried over long distances.
When we were in the desert, we had over 100 pounds on our back. I was carrying more than my body weight every other day for close to 5 miles. And now we're here carrying about 75 pounds every other day for a total of 6 miles. So your body never really gets that chance to recover.
For 8 months, these Marines have been training in a variety of grueling environments, the desert, the ocean, and now the mountains. At these altitudes, breathing can be hard, so even the most basic tasks become more difficult. On every march, heart monitors record vital data. After, Marines are asked to record how they're feeling. The information collected will be used to set gender-neutral standards to qualify for jobs like machine gunner and tank crewman.
We have found through looking at these that all of the Marines who are out here are capable of performing the tasks. What we're trying to ascertain is to what level are they capable of performing the tasks. We actually get to see what type of person actually thrives in this environment and what do they look like from a physical standpoint. What is their height, their weight, their lean body mass?
Harder to measure is the impact of women on what the military refers to as unit cohesion. But in this group, they've earned a grudging respect.
When I think when the going gets tough and I look at somebody over, my shoulder might be a little bit smaller, a little bit shorter, and they keep pushing, makes me rethink what am I here to do, and I keep pushing on.
The results of the testing will be presented to the Commandant of the Marines this summer. The women say they'll keep pushing on to prove that they are not only willing, but able to serve. Kristen Salumi, Al Jazeera, Bridgeport, California.
New York law enforcement officials say they are leaving no stone unturned in the search for 2 convicted murderers who broke out of prison on Saturday, June 7th.
In excess of 150 leads have been developed since the escape was first reported yesterday morning. The state police, docks, and federal investigative personnel, as well as surrounding agencies, are following up on each and every lead, no matter where it takes us. Several aircraft from state and federal agencies are being utilized. The state police currently have roughly 100 personnel, which includes uniform, investigative, and specialized units on the ground actively searching and following leads. These are very dangerous individuals. The state police ask that the public take no chances, make no efforts to apprehend them, and report any suspicious activity. If you see something, say something. Contact 911 or your local law enforcement agency or the New York State Police to report any information related to this investigation. We're leaving no stone unturned. It's been approximately 36 hours since these inmates escaped. They could be literally anywhere. Although we have notified our partners in Canada, the ports of entry across the northern border, and certainly every law enforcement agency in the Northeast, they could be out of state, but they still could be holed up here in Dannemora.
And now the weather. Temperatures are 28 degrees Celsius or 82 degrees Fahrenheit. Winds are east to east northeast at 8 to 16 miles per hour. Seas are moderate with waves of 1.5 meters or 5 feet. We can expect partly sunny and slightly hazy conditions with a few periods of increased cloudiness and brief isolated showers. Sunset for today, 6:44 p.m. Sunrise for tomorrow, 5:36 a.m. And that's it for ZIZ's Midday Newscast. Join us this evening for the details to these stories and more in our major news presentation. I have been your presenter, JD Gaines. Have a great afternoon.